So today is August 6th when I'm recording this. This is a project you might not see revealed until after November 6th because this is a wedding quilt that I'm making for myself and my wedding is October 21st and I don't want this to be a grand reveal until after the wedding in case it gets incorporated in the day in any way, but I just want to be excited and I'm ready to get this started and I want to document it since how often are you making your own wedding quilts? I have to say, I assume probably not often. So I'm excited to get this one going. And when I saw the fabric, I knew it was perfect and I had the pattern that I knew was perfect and I just needed to make it happen. So I'm going to be making the Vegas wedding ring, which is a modern take on the traditional curved piece double wedding ring. That pattern looks like this. And it is by Pen and Paper Patterns. And I saw a customer do this and they quilted it on our long arms at the shop while we were doing the rentals. And so ever since I knew, I was like, I want to do this pattern. I want to do this pattern someday. Someday I'm going to do this pattern for somebody. And that somebody is now me. And so I'm very excited to have this as a special remembrance of my wedding colors on my wedding day and all sorts of fun. So my wedding colors, we're kind of getting some fall colors. So we are doing peacock, navy blue, rust, and like a mustardy yellow. And originally yellow was kind of supposed to be like an accent color, like a little bit of yellow, but ever since my dad's passing and yellow was his color, yellow has become even more prominent in our lives. So coincidentally, when I bought this fabric, it was in February, so 2 months before the accident even happened, and I chose to have yellow as a dominant color in this pattern. And so it's all kind of meant to be, since yellow has now become a dominant color for our wedding. So that said, let me show you the fabrics, and don't be shocked, but there's actually no grunge in this quilt. I kind of fell for the Northcott blender collection we got in at that point in time. And so this is a little bit of the Northcott Glisten, which if you're familiar with Michael Miller's Fairy Frost, it's very similar, but the pearlescence and the glitter is kind of much softer. So it's a much softer feeling. It's not as chunky or as stiff as the Fairy Frost, which I really liked. And then the other two that are not the Glisten fabrics are the Northcott Canvas collection, because I figured if I was going to go with Glisten, I'm not going to throw grunge in there. And so this time, there's no Moda grunge in this quilt, which is weird because Moda grunge is my vibe. So let me show you the fabrics and so you can see what's going where. So first off, the peacock was the one that I was like, we had this little bit left on the bolt and I was like, I need that. I need whatever's there. I'm taking it all. That's going to be one of the rings. And so the second ring is going to be the yellow version of the Glisten. I figured that was a good pairing because these two together were the only Glistens that we had. We were starting to run out as far as inventory goes. And so when I saw that those two were the Glisten colors, I was like, well, I guess those are my rings. So I'm going to have some nice shiny sparkly rings. And so the little inner diamonds, the inner piece, are going to be this rust color. So I believe this is rust from Northcott's Canvas. Our actual flowers and everything ended up being kind of more of a like orangey color, just because that's how they came. I ordered the Sola wood flowers, so I love the flowers. So this might be a slightly different shade, but still gets the same point across. And then my background, I kind of wanted it to be dramatic. I love a good dramatic back. And so both of our mom's dresses are navy blue. And so I went with a navy dark blue for the background. And so I think this is ink. I can't remember. I took a picture somewhere. So this is going to be the background and technically the second diamond. So then when you see like the inner diamond pieces, this is going to be that second diamond that kind of lets the terracotta one kind of pop out a little bit. So there's those two together and then these ones together. And I'm just super excited how this is all going to turn out. I'm probably going to do minking on the back because with that, I think it looks amazing. And I'm super excited. I don't know what I'm going to quilt it in, but obviously I'm getting ahead of myself because I've got to cut it out and sew the top together first. So I'm going to clear off my cutting table and get to work. So just to clarify before cutting, I had a change of heart a little bit, but you're going to see why. So these colors are all the same, obviously. Nothing changed about these ones, but the more I thought about it, the more I wasn't sure about this red one. And so I had my mom bring my flowers to work. So here's the terracotta one, and then here's the yellow one. And so this just felt off. So I did find a terracotta color. So this is going away. Let me get that out of there. And then this is going in there. So that is more wedding colors. So there's my yellow, there's my terracotta, this is the color of the bridesmaid dresses, this is my background color, this was essentially the main color, but there we are. So now I'm going to start cutting. So everything is now cut and labeled and all stashed in this nice little plastic tote. So I'm just going to throw the pattern in here. So then when it's time to get sewing, everything's going to be ready to go, which will hopefully be very soon. So block one is done. I've got two variations of it. If you notice, this center stays the same, but the direction that these rotate. So on this block, when I did the sides, the yellow was touching the navy, and then these are reversed up top. And then this one, the teal, the turquoise is touching the navy. and then it's reverse up top. So somehow these come into play as far as being reversed. It said to really make sure of color layout. So I've got 8 blocks of each. I'm going to set those aside and we're going to go on to block number 2. So now I've got my block 2, which when it's laying out square, it's this, but it's actually going to be on point like that throughout the quilt. So I've got 9 of these. So now I just need to make my block 3, which is actually just like this triangle section. So it's not even going to be a full square block. It's going to be these triangle wedges because this is going to be on point. I'm going to have to fill out different spots of it. And so I have to make 6 yellow ones and 6 turquoisey peacock ones. And then it'll be time to put this together. So I'm going to go make those blocks and we'll meet you back after that. So lastly, we now have our block 3, which is half in this peacock color, half in the yellow. So now it's time to head over to the design wall and see if we can get this laid out. So now what's gonna happen is this obviously is like turned a little bit. By a little bit, I mean it's on point right now. So this is gonna be our row 1, row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. Yes, so there's 7 rows on this. And then once I get those rows on, I have to square up. Like you can see, like right here, this point is gonna get cut off. So I'm gonna sew these rows, sew them together, and then we'll come back and it'll be time to put the borders on. And you know who loves it when I put borders on, and that is Trixie. So I'm gonna double check everything to make sure these are all going in the same direction, these terracotta squares, because that's gonna be the obvious one. But looking at it right now, everything looks right to me. So fingers crossed, it all comes together. Let's do this. So today is a pretty significant day. It's October 13th and we are just over a week from the wedding, but also it's our 2-year dating anniversary today. So what better reason to start quilting a quilt than having one finished today? So let's see what we can get done. So this is our quilt top. I'm not gonna give you the full reveal just yet. You'll get a peek at it while it's quilting, but since we're packing it all into one video, you might have to wait till the end to get the full reveal, but I'm excited. So that's our quilt top there. I've got a navy blue thread that's gonna match the background color really well. I think it is actually navy from Glide. And so I have an idea of what I'm gonna do for my quilting, so then it's nice and lets that still shine, but kind of gives it a little texture. And then for my backing, I've got this super yummy, super soft, super cozy Mirage in Mallard from Shannon Fabrics. And so the Mirage is pretty much the 80 wide version of the 60 wide Luxe Cuddle Hide, and it's just got a little bit longer pile than the Smooth, which was my other option. But the more I looked at the two colors side by side, even though they both were Mallard, this one matched my quilt top a little bit better. So it's gonna be nice and cozy, and I don't have a quilt backed with this yet, so there may be some battles over who gets this quilt, but what's a marriage without a little quilt battle? So I'm gonna skip recording the part of me loading this on and getting the batting on and all that stuff, since we're trying to save some time for the fun stuff. And I will see you back here once I've got it all locked and loaded and ready to quilt. So here we are, all loaded and basted in, and I keep second guessing all my patterns and quilting designs, so I think I'm gonna go with this. It was most like the one that I saw when I was scrolling through Instagram for this quilt, and I was like, ooh, I kind of like that. So we're gonna hope for the best. It kind of reminds me of like interlocking rings, which is kind of the vibe of this quilt. So I'm gonna get it all set, stitch out a zone, and then be back. So here's the first zone, and as usual, I panicked a little bit seeing the dark thread on the yellow and the terracotta and the peacock. But I think in the end, it's gonna look really good because it just ties in really well with the background. I can't imagine reversing it and doing a lighter color where it would show up out here and then blend in there. So now it's time to get it all set up and watch it quilt out a zone. So now I've reached the bottom, and the more I look at it, the happier I am with it. And so now it's time to get it off the frame and square it all up and put the binding on. And then this is done. And right now I feel very ahead of schedule because I still got 8 days. The wedding festivities have come and gone, but the Vegas Wedding Quilt will live forever. So on a more serious note, this turned out exactly how I hoped it would. I love it so much. I only second guessed the quilting a little bit, but once it's all done, it kind of gives it that little bit of movement and kind of interlocking shape that I hoped. It's got a nice like weighted blanket feel because of having the quilt top, the batting in the middle, and having mirage on the back, which has a little more heft to it than your standard smooth minky would. And so it's just so nice to lay under. I've pulled it out a couple times since it's now getting cold at night. But as you see, I'm like rubbing it on my face. But it is so perfect. And let me throw in a quick picture of it here from the wedding so you can see it as it was on display. And now it just gets to live in my house and be fought over forever, especially with these colder nights. We're gonna be a little bit battling over it a little bit more. In the meantime, let me show you the pictures of the full reveal and give you some close-up details, and we'll be back again soon.